we working? Here we go. We're I got the double screen back. Let me move this. There we go. See, I don't do any editing on this stuff, so we're just running with it. We're recording right now, so. Anna Mocikat is here with me in the studio. We're doing a thing. We're doing a thing we talked about.
Hi,
Welcome
Sean.
to the booth.
Thank you so much for inviting me into your man cave. I'm really excited, and I feel very honored that I am allowed to be here and take a
Yes.
peek into your world. And
Yes.
yeah, awesome.
So we're almost at the halfway point for Behind Blue Eyes. And of course, with scheduling and everything, I wanted to be done with it by now. I looked at my calendar and I got depressed because this was supposed to be all to you by now, but COVID and craziness and schedules it's been pretty ridiculous. So, but we're kind of chipping away. Is kind of how I talk about this stuff with these audiobooks, because as a narrator in your mind, you're like, oh, I can rock this chapter out in an hour or so, no big deal. But then you start doing it and your mouth and brain don't work together very well, and things will take longer. And I was just talking to a narrator because we just did a little paid gig, some weird
Romance.
dominance, whatever. I don't know. Dom submissive type. What I don't know.
Steamy
Whatever.
romance.
I guess. And
I really want to hear that.
and my character was. The whole chapters, I'm just talking like this because he's a motorcycle guy and he's searching for the woman who's been kidnapped and he's just angry. And they wanted me to narrate in third person but in his voice, and I'm like, oh. So it's just been it's like 3 chapters of me just being intense and smoldering, like, oh my god.
Oh, I really want to hear that. Can I hear that when you're
Yeah,
done with it?
sure. Yeah.
Just
So
just for fun.
so
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 yeah,
the
I would like to ask you a couple of questions
yeah.
because I admit, I mean, you have seen it. I have putting it all over social media that I'm really excited about what you're doing, and that I am really fascinated about what you're doing, because for me this is new and I have never seen a narrator work, and I think it's absolutely cool and absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love the whole process, and I'm enjoying this very much. And as I told you before, I almost choked to death on my strawberries the other night when I was listening to the chapter you sent me. So awesome.
That's
It
good.
just shows how good it works. I would like to ask you, so how do you do that? I mean, you're able to perform such different characters, and everyone is unique. So
Mhm.
2 things I'm interested about here. First of all, um, did you go to any kind of school where you learned voice acting so you can do that? Do you use certain techniques like voice techniques? And the second part of the question is, how do you prepare for that mentally? I mean, is it
Mhm.
like more like method acting? Do you feel this motorcycle guy inside you who is so tense, and are you being all tense when you read it, or is it yeah, how are
Yeah.
you doing it?
So no formal training. No, I've always been a character. I've always done voices growing up. It's just something I always did. I had a little tape deck recorder, but I would put a blank tape in, and I would record myself doing radio shows and being all the characters in the radio show. So I'd have these tapes and I would play I would do and we're gonna listen to Phil Collins, um, and I was like, I don't know, 11 or 12, and so I'd have musical breaks, 3 songs, come back, I would do the weather, I would just I was bored and we lived in Iowa, and I would just kind of go out and be creative, and that was kind of my form of entertaining myself. And then as I got into high school, I joined drama, things like that. So I've always kind of just liked doing this. And people had always said "Oh, you should get into this," and I was always kind of hesitant, because um, I had gone to college for for communications, so radio broadcast, video editing,
Oh, so
documentary
you
field.
are a professional in that field,
Yeah,
actually.
but I got a job in that field, and then I got laid off, and then that started a whole new path with I never got back professionally for a company in that field. But I always, ever since that, I started podcasting when that started. So I've always kind of been doing it, and this kind of fell in my lap um, as a way to maybe I could make some extra money, and then I realized that it takes a few years for you to start really making money because there's kind of you got to get a portfolio out there. You got like publishers need to see that you're not a flash in the pan, like you're not just testing out the water. They want to see that you've put in the work and you're serious about this. Um, so so I've just always
Let
kind
me
of
let me tell you
done it.
one thing. I have a very good um feeling for talent in people, and I can tell you one thing. I'm absolutely convinced that you're gonna go really far as a
Oh,
narrator.
stop
I am
it.
I am oh, now you're blushing. Isn't that adorable?
uh,
No, seriously, I'm convinced you're gonna go really really far because you're doing a fantastic job and you have the talent and the right technique and the right attitude.
yeah.
So that's the three things, and I'm convinced that you're gonna go really far. So
Well, thank
you
you.
and me, we need to make a contract. So in 10 years, you won't charge me what you will charge
Okay.
Simon
Okay.
and
Oh
Schuster.
yeah. Right. I won't charge you the RC Bray
Yeah.
rate.
We're gonna do that because you need to remember I said you would be big one day. So,
Oh,
but
stop it.
sorry,
Your check your your
I
check's in the
interrupted
mail.
you.
Your
So you
check's
were
in the mail,
telling
Hannah.
about your story, how you came to being what you are.
Do you like scotch or what do you like to I'll send you a case of scotch or something. I'll give you some sort of bribe for being so nice to me.
You're bribing me, sending me this the awesome chapters. It's okay. Just prepare me next time
Okay.
that it's gonna be funny, so I don't choke to death. Okay?
All right, I'll let you know.
You still need me around for a bit.
No, so I've just been doing this for just kind of started doing it, and I realized quickly, yeah, I'm not gonna make the money I wanted to make, right off the bat. But I caught the bug. I love it so much, and it kind of overtook my life and kind of became this thing. So, and as far as like getting in the character, yeah, I guess I tried a method. I try to put myself in the person's headspace a bit. So, I've never been a big buff, full of abs, motorcycle guy, dominatrix,
Almost,
whatever,
almost, almost. I
daddy.
mean,
I'm a daddy
that's
for other
almost you.
reasons. I have children. That's the only term I ever heard was daddy. Is I have kids, and then in this book, it's completely different. It's a completely different type of daddy. But but I don't know where I'm going. I ramble when I get nervous and just chat. But so I know I can't put I don't have the experience, but I am a huge movie buff, and so I kind of like will think of all right, what movie have I seen, what character, and in this case, I had just got done. I did a sci-fi where I played this barbarian guy, and I had to really just be very much out of my element because I'm more of a baritone voice. But I had to be this aggressive, and I'm not an aggressive person by nature. I'm very, but acting, right? So I had to think of like, all right, Sons of Anarchy, those types of characters, and just put myself in that headspace, and just do it. And then, so with Behind Blue Eyes, of course, I'm not a female cyborg, but I'm a huge Ghost in the Shell fan. The anime Ghost in the Shell was like just pivotal. Like it's like a cornerstone of kind of like my love of sci-fi and animation. It was a perfect blend of that. Blade Runner, the cyberpunk. I mean, I didn't know what cyberpunk. I didn't know it was cyberpunk when I liked it. But Blade Runner really set the stage for cyberpunk stuff. So, and then the game Cyberpunk 2077 was like so. It came at the perfect time because I played a month straight of that game, and it really kind of helped me prepare for this. So I'll think of kind of the main whatever voice I chose for V. I think of that voice when am channeling, and it's not this. It's of course it's not exactly the same, but I'm kind of trying in my mind. I'm thinking and hearing that voice. So the voice actress for Ghost in the Shell for the American version, Scarlett Johansson for the movie, which people bash, but I liked.
I love
Um,
it. Absolutely.
um,
I love it. Yeah.
and then the character of V. So I kind of see those in my. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it. My wife is like, "What? You see stuff?" I go, "Yeah, I see them and hear them, and try to channel that through as I do it." So like with Adriel, I kind of just think of a. I'm already kind of snarky, so I kind of just input my snark into that character. Metatron, he's conniving, very thoughtful and just very conniving. Something's always going on up here when it's Metatron. So I don't know. So it's kind of an amalgamism of, is that the right word? I don't know. I'll make up words as the more we talk, but I'll kind of combine things that sometimes I don't even know where they're coming from. I just feel like, oh, it's right for this character, and sometimes I'm
Yeah.
wrong, and sometimes I'm right, and and sometimes if I'm a little more unsure, it takes me more time. Like when I did Banu, he's Indian, and I've worked with a lot of IT, but I was like, I can't do stereotypical. I don't want to be offensive. It's not trying to be funny. This is who he is. He's literally, you know, an Indian hacker. So it's like I just thought of like guys that I've worked with in IT, just make it believable and not go into like, that's always a tough thing when you have to,
I
you
think it's
know.
absolutely believable. It's awesome. So I told you before I knew a guy who was exactly like that, and
Mm,
it's I think you really hit it perfectly. And I also love how you perform Adriel. So it's really exactly as I have imagined. That's why I think that you have a great talent of getting into the characters. You can read the subtext, you can read
mm-hmm.
stuff I put into the character, all the little things, and then you can speak him as I intended to. And I think that's really really amazing. I'm totally in awe because I can't imagine how people do that. So it's really fantastic. And with Metatron, I mean, yeah, he is obviously very far away from your personality. Also,
Mm.
who knows what you're hiding in there, pretending to be
Well,
all innocent.
it's funny
But
because we all, I mean,
but
the thing is, like, our personalities, we all do have a dark side. And the whole thing, like, with, morality and things like that is like, do you act on those dark impulses? Do you, so yeah, I'm a very nice guy, but and I'm very, very, ethical and things like that. But you kind of think like you tap into, and that's what's fun about fiction, right? That's why we like fiction, we like villains, because it taps into this kind of, deep down, like we all have, that side of us, whether you want to admit it or not. There's the yin and the yang of life and personalities, and we all have that. It's just, we don't act on it, but through acting and through fiction, you can tap into that a little bit, and it is a little bit fun.
that's why readers like Metatron so much, because he is he is like the dark voice from the back of your head,
Mm,
trying to convince you to go to the dark side. And
yes.
it's really, really tempting because he does it so well, and he says so many things people would like to say, and he
Mm-hmm.
just does it. So that's why readers like him so much. He's the second favorite character of I always ask readers when they contact me which characters they like most, and so the favorite character is surprisingly Finwick. Readers love him because he's the underdog, I guess. And then comes Metatron, which surprised me because he's really the bad guy.
Yeah.
And for me, when I heard you narrating him the first time when you sent me, the sample
Mm-hmm.
back then last year, for me that was okay. I listened to it like 10 seconds and I knew, okay, this is it.
That's that's
This
funny
is
because
it. This guy is so hired. Okay,
I
we're
was
gonna
trying
do
to.
this.
Well, it's funny because I was trying to, because I was so booked. I was like, well, I'll just. I had seen. Is this is like where you can, like, marketing works, everybody, because I saw your tweets and the cover art and your videos, and I was like, well, this is an author that knows how to sell herself and her story, and And I was like, man, someone would have a blast working on this book. And I had read a little bit in the samples on Amazon, and I was like, well, let me just see if I can help her cast this. And then you go, well, can you read something? And I'm like, oh, yes.
And
So
then
and
it was you did a good job, you know. You were thinking, oh, she won't like it, and she will go with someone else anyway. But then I said, oh yes, 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 please, let's do
that's
that. Okay, it's
hilarious.
so hired.
That's so funny.
I had probably 20 narrators or more auditioning for this book because I was surprised myself how much interest it
Mm-hmm.
woke and how many people really, really wanted to do this. And were a couple really good ones, but with you it was like this kind of decision, and that's usually the best decisions
Yeah.
in
Well,
in my opinion.
fingers
So
crossed you
yeah,
made the right choice.
we're gonna have a fantastic book. I'm very eager to motivate you to deliver the best work ever, and I mean, if you like, you can show us a little bit what you're
Yeah,
capable of. Oh, I have one last question. So,
sure.
did you teach it to yourself, the whole software thing? I mean, that's
Um,
hellishly complicated.
yeah, yes. I mean, so part of my, part of the, I've always kind of dove in to things. I'm a tinkerer, so before I really had computers, I was taking apart like stereos and putting them back together and things like that.
But
And
yeah, you're a
then
nerd,
I'm a
obviously.
nerd, yeah. So obviously I'm a Ghostbusters shirt. Um, but yeah, I mean, so part of I learned like Pro Tools. I learned how to edit on an Avid. I caught on so quickly in college. They just put me directly into the Avid booth for all my video projects. They were like, we're not even.
Avid, Avid is complicated. I
Yeah,
learned Avid too.
yeah,
Yes,
and they're like,
I
you don't
can
have.
work with Avid, but it's
Yeah. Well, we were using on Macs upstairs. We had, and this was like 2000, the year 2000, literally. They had Macs upstairs with like Premiere Pro on it, and that took forever to render. You couldn't dump directly to tape, and we were using beta tapes, Betamax tapes, because we were like you're learning kind of like the newsroom kind of thing. So at that time, they were using Betamax when they would broadcast the news. All their all their things would be on beta tape. Um, so I learned how to do all
yeah,
that, and I went to the Avid.
I learned
So
that too.
and then I learned Pro Tools, do the radio, and then I've always been working with these. So there's always a learning curve with software, but I'm pretty good. And then of course I have a background in professionally working in IT and software support and stuff like that. So it's just kind of and just had to learn it, and I kind of had to do it when I was jumping into this. I really did have to learn some things like the spectral editing that I was
Oh
showing
yeah,
off. Like
that's
that's I never had that when I was in college, but it's
no.
such a great tool. It's so amazing. So
I think that was also always something I was thinking when I saw you working with this. That oh my God, back then when I was at film school and when I did learned all this stuff myself and when I shot on my short films and everything, we would have killed for such a software.
uh,
Oh my God, because I mean editing footage is of course not easy, but sound was always
uh,
the biggest issue,
yeah.
always most complicated. Recording sound on set is a nightmare. You will
Mm-hmm.
always have buzz or clicks or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and to get it out, like in the analog time,
Yeah. Well, you would
that
just
was
do
really, oh,
yeah. You would just do
now when
like
I see what you're doing,
ADR.
you know, oh my, that's
Yeah,
just
it's crazy.
amazing.
And that's the thing. I'm like, well, if I would have had all this back in my 20s, when I was just kind of kicking around, I would have been able to do this back then and just probably start this career sooner. But I mean, everything happens for a reason. I wouldn't have met my wife, and wouldn't have had my kids, and so it all works out for a reason. But I mean, you're only as old as you think you are, right? You're only as old as you mentally think you are. So I feel like I'm still in my 20s. So
Oh yeah,
I'll
me
just
too. That's really,
I'm just perpetually in my 20s. I'm not aging. No. My kid,
yeah, right, right. We stopped with 29.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
that.
yeah. 29 is a good age. 29, maybe even like 32. right in there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got in the car yesterday, and my son, my youngest, goes, "Dad, your hair's getting grayer." I'm like, thanks for the reminder. Um, as you guys can
No
see,
matter what
I'm
you
just
do, your kids will always think that you're not cool. I mean, that's how things work,
yep, that's
That's
fine.
just
They're all gonna grow up to be like totally straight laced. Although my middle son, he has the penchant for acting and stuff. So yeah. So yeah, everyone can see I'm still learning this. You'll see on I'll put it this way, on Anna's screen there, her name's there, and I can't get it. I can't take the name off of Skype there. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing.
I can't hear you because my dogs are barking. I need to
I'm talking about
I
the
need to
name. I'm
mute
talking
you
about
for a second.
the name that's on your plastered on your forehead right now. I can't remove that, so I'm making excuses that I don't know what
Oh,
I'm doing.
well, I'm making excuses for my dogs because another dog walked past the windows, and that's not allowed in this house.
Not allowed. No. So the whole purpose of this was you're gonna hang out a little bit while I do some narration and I work. And I couldn't figure out how to put you kind of hovering on the thing. So we'll switch back and forth. People won't be able to hear. I'll still be able to hear you, but people won't be able to hear you through the video as I'm going through the editing. But this will just be fun to do. So
Don't worry, I will shut up when you work.
that's fine. So it's
I won't say anything. So what are you gonna read?
So I'm working on chapter 6. I haven't started it yet. So and your note was what your note it goes. This is one of the most important scenes of the book. And I went, oh no, So
Yes.
so I'll just kind of be working and bounce off. So this is kind of like exhibition run here, just so your readers can kind of see and hear us kind of talking together and seeing how I work. And what's fun is when this is done, you and I will get together on my podcast and we'll chat about the end result. So this will be great. So this is a great prelude to the podcast.
So how helpful is it to give you such I wrote a couple of stuff into the book. Is this very helpful for you?
Yes.
How do all authors do that, or do some just throw you the book and say
Not all do, and sometimes, like the book that I worked on over the weekend, the quick little chapters I did, I had no direction, nothing, because the author's not even involved. The production company is involved. And generally, when you get to more of the major publishers, the author's never involved with the audiobook. It just arrives, and whether they're happy with it or not, it's done. So this is kind of a privilege, I think, in the indie realm that we have. So the thing is, like, I'm not for a royalty kind of share. I'm not making the money up front, but I'm almost always more proud of the indie work that I do because I've formed a relationship with the author that it feels it's more satisfying. So as an artist, it kind of scratches that itch of doing something that you love and you're proud of.
it shows?
Not saying that I'm not proud of any of my work. It's just it's a different work experience, and I do prefer as a creative. I love this, working on the audiobook with the author. Some authors will take over and like try to direct every sentence, but the good you always find good collaborators. Kind of it's a push and pull, but it's like it's a fun push and pull as opposed to like if you'd have got chapter 1 and came back with like 200 notes, I would have probably said, "Hey Anna, this is not going to work. So you'll get you're going to get the audiobook when it's done." But it's been such a great collaborative process.
Well,
you kind of get a reading on people.
I've been in this game for a long time, so I know how it goes, and I also totally know how much effort goes into such stuff. So I would never do that. I think that's horrible. That's just disrespectful, And I mean, when I decided to work with you, I decided that because I knew I can trust you will do great work. So that would be really stupid to then go into every sentence and say, "Oh, I want to be the director.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a different kind of working, and it's a different kind of directing, and like I said, like most um, most major published authors, like I said, don't even they hope it's good, you know.
yeah, so
Um,
I need to quickly tell that I have books that are published with a publisher, and they made an audiobook without me being involved at all for my book Shadow City. And this audiobook is so horrible that I even didn't give out the free codes to people
mm-hmm.
because I listened to it for 5 minutes and I was so horrified. It was so bad. I
uh,
almost started crying because I was so excited. I I was so excited. Oh my God, I we get an audiobook and oh it will be awesome. And I was waiting, and it took forever. And then finally it was there, and then I listened to it and I was completely shocked. It was so
very good.
bad. I mean, it sounds like a a 50s a 50s commercial for toothpaste. That's how the guy is reading it.
uh,
It's just
well,
horrible. And
if
so that
you
was another reason for me to say, okay, I'm going indie with
yeah,
Behind Blue Eyes because if anything will get screwed up with this book, it will be me who screws it up. Nobody else.
right,
So
right,
far,
yeah.
I made the right decision. So, but yeah,
uh,
yeah, this thing that authors need to trust their publishers to make it good. That's yeah, I have my
yeah.
experiences with that.
And it's hit or miss. Some books, like Adam Caesar's, I was talking with him about his book Clown in the Cornfield, and that audiobook turned out fantastic, really great. So it's like hit or miss with all
Hmm.
that. So well, let's. I'm looking at
Yes.
the time, going like, ooh. So we're not gonna spend a whole lot of time with me working, but it's just to give everyone a taste of what it's like, and then you and I will kind of come back. I'll pop in with you and see like how'd I do, and chapter 6. So why is this the most important scene in the book? What does it set up? I guess without giving major spoilers to those who haven't read the book. Why'd you put that note there?
Um, because it's the first time that Nephilim, the main character, and Metatron, who is the villain, the antagonist, they really come together. Really come together for the
Mm-hmm.
first time
Right.
in this scene, and he shows a little bit more of who he is and what his game is, and he is an extremely important character. It's basically when once the whole series is done, this is just the first book, which is like an introduction. Well, once the whole series is done, is basically very much the story of those two people
Mm.
and how everything will play out. And this is the first time they meet in this way. So
Okay.
this is like the spark for everything else that will happen. So it is definitely one of the most important scenes in the book and in the whole series,
Okay.
actually. So
No pressure on my part. Oh my god.
and yeah, I really would love to hear you read Metatron a little bit
All
because
right.
he is your dark evil alter ego.
Yep. And I got to do Zephaniel for a bit. Here's what I'm going to do, because we got Zephaniel here. Blah 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 blah. I'll go to where Metatron and her, because right now she's just um.
Well, the way you
Arcane Scroll.
narrated Zephaniah gave me really the creeps. So I that's really great. Very, very nice. I love it.
Let's see, because Nathaniel, yeah, that was interesting to workshop that, because he is almost like, he's very similar to Metatron, but a little more, even maybe more conniving. He's kind of like a wannabe, right? Like he's kind of
Hmm.
like, so there's kind of, I'm assuming there's like some sort of a little bit of jealousy or minor resentment that he's not the main guy. So I don't know.
No, there's no jealousy. No,
No.
no. He's rather really, really he admires him.
Okay.
Like
Good to know. Good note to know.
he's everything for him, you know. So uh, when he when he and Metatron, when they are together, from Zephaniah's side, there is really a lot of genuine admiration. It's
Okay.
more like when he deals with Nephilim or with other people, then that he shows
Got it.
his true face.
Okay.
Uh,
So
yeah,
when he's with Metatron, he's very much like like very he's a kiss ass.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, he really totally admires Metatron, and his biggest wish would be like him or actually be him. That's
Got
the
it.
thing. He would like to be him.
Okay.
That's probably the biggest issue this character has.
Got it. Okay. Cool. I'm going to set this to my other screen. So your voice won't come through the video, but you'll be able to talk to me like a director. Um, so where am I at? Oh no, it's doing the wrong thing. And we're back here. All right, now we're back. Now I'll switch it. All right, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna skip ahead to when Metatron comes into the scene, and I'll come back and record the first part later. So this way we can kind of get some Metatron and Nephilim dialogue here. So I'm gonna minimize everything. I'm gonna make this so I'll see you in a little corner in the corner of my screen here. And yeah. All right. So let me let my computer. And I haven't done this before. Usually it's just me in here. So this is all new, but that's why we talk so much. I was trying to delay this because I'm nervous. All right, here we go. Go easy on me. If I start hearing like screaming in my ear, I'll start crying. No, I'm just kidding. Here we go. Metatron was leaning against the glass railing at the corner of the balcony, facing both the spectacular view. Hold on, I gotta take a sip of tea. Against the glass railing at the corner of the balcony, facing both the spectacular view and his guest, his eyes glowing in the darkness of the night, a glass of wine in his hand, a glass of wine in his hand, a glass of wine in his hand. Sometimes I like to a glass of just keep going until I get the right thing. And some narrators can just go on and on, facing both his eyes glowing in the dark, but I find that sometimes I just need to kind of get the groove and just kind of get the line out after a few times. The balcony, facing both the spectacular view, the balcony, and it just takes a little bit of time. Balcony, facing both the spectacular view and his guest. Both the spectacular guest, his eyes glowing in the darkness of the wine in his hand. All right. His eyes glowing in the darkness of the night, a glass of wine in his hand. No. Let's see how he's doing. He's, Nephilim, he said. It's good to see you. Let's see. Yes? Oh, I can't hear you all of a sudden. Oh, dang it. Hold on. Did you put yourself on mute, Nana?
It myself. I said, give him something smug. So, you know, like put a smug grin on your face, and
Smug,
that
okay.
probably
It's a bit
probably
smug.
help you, you know. But
Okay.
yeah, I will shut up. Just do. You're doing great.
Good. That's funny. I forgot that I moved you out of the way, so it was just you're talking to me, but it's just a view of my computer thing. So smug. It's good to. Yeah. It's good to see you. It's good to see you. It's good. No. All right. Where's this? There we go. His eyes glowing in the darkness of the night, a glass of wine in his hand. Nephilim, he said. It's good to see you. Thanks for inviting me. Thank you for inviting me. I feel honored. Let's see. You know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna see if I can bring your audio into here so people can hear what you're saying. And if when I'm going, just you can mute yourself. But the way I'm doing this, I want to have conversation. So hold on 1 second. Let's see here. Okay, so go ahead and say something and see if it comes through.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
all right, good. That's all I need. So yeah, just go and mute yourself if I ask you a question, you can unmute and bring in.
yeah.
But what was I gonna say?
So if it
Thank you for
helps
inviting
you
me.
with him, imagine that he's like the
Thanks for
kind of
inviting me.
he's I think I probably wrote you this before, like a panther sitting on a tree, and you
Mm-hmm.
standing under this tree and looking up to this panther, and this panther is sitting there and looking back at you, and it's completely calm and everything, but you know at any second this panther can jump you and rip open your throat and you will bleed to death in a
Got it.
horrible way. So this is how a conversation with him is, and this is also something Nephilim feels.
Got
He
it. And then the trick with Nephilim has been not to show too much emotion because she hasn't had to yet, because we haven't had the love interest come in yet, and she still kind of usually keeps things at bay unless she's unless she's with Adriel, she's a little more loose. But so it's kind of trying to play it cool, but not like too emotional. It's a weird goal because I tend to go more towards emotion. So it's been kind of an interesting little
No, you're doing
exercise.
great
Thank you
with
for
her.
inviting
You're
me.
doing really great with her. I love it what you did so
Ah,
far, and I know it's
Nephilim,
extremely
he said.
difficult. And
It's
and
good
in
to
this
see.
scene also, I mean, she tries to play it cool
Right.
as much as
Thank you for
possible.
inviting me. Thank you for inviting me. I feel honored. She's playing it cool. Okay, I got it. All right, here we go.
They're
Nephilim,
always playing
he said.
chess, the two of them.
Yes.
Nephilim.
Okay. He said, got it. It's good
Okay.
to see you. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I feel honored. He smirked and kept silent for a moment, studying her. I gotta clean this up for a second. Thank you. I feel. Thank you for inviting me. I feel honored. He smirked and kept silent for a moment, studying her. As always, he was dressed in all black, but it was the first time Nephilim saw him without his uniform or formal attire. His clothes were informal and plain, yet a closer look revealed that it was an expensive kind of Yet a closer look revealed that it was an expensive kind of casual. Yet a closer look revealed that it was an expensive. Yet a closer look revealed that it was an expensive kind of casual. I like that better. Yet expensive kind of casual. He has some taste. Yet a clothes were informal. Yet a closer look revealed that it was an expensive kind of uniform or formal attire. He was dressed in all black. And if people are seeing this for the first time, he was cleaning things up, trying to get the pacing as I go because I will be doing the editing myself, and I want to have it as edited as possible before I kind of go through and do my final mastering kind of uniform or formal
Yes,
attire.
and it's really amazing how much
That it wasn't.
you put into how much effort you put into details here.
Well,
That
my
was
thought
something that
is.
impressed me a lot.
Well, my thought is for this, and the last thing I did that was a paid thing, and the editor's doing it. That was more kind of fast and loose. My thought process, because I tried both ways, I tried to just record it and then edit it. It's just by the time I get done narrating it, I'm done. I don't want to have to like sit and meticulously edit. So I try to put in the work here, because that way when it's done, it's pretty much done. And then I kind of do a quick, and I'm gonna do a video on it when I'm doing the final mastering. Now that I have all this set up, but you can do. I kind of do a quick visual look through the spectral, and then I've done it so much now I kind of can see extra spaces, and then I have like I showed positron. Positron shows me if there's any crazy gaps. I can set it to be like, all right, look for anything that's like 2, 3, 4 seconds and flag me. So I kind of do that, let other things do the work for me. Just so the whole thing of like working, smarter, not harder. So I kind of try to pay attention to this stuff now so I don't have to later. So I can just we can kind of just basically put a ribbon on it when it's all done.
Yeah, it's really amazing. It's
Wasn't expensive.
very impressive.
All right, here we go. That it was an expensive kind of casual.
Also, one more thing with Metatron.
Yes.
Since we're talking about him, he is also in his very, very dangerous way. He is also very sexy. That's also something you always should keep in the back of your head when you're speaking him. And that's not only how I designed him. It is also how readers perceive him very much.
Got it.
So
Okay.
from the feedback I got, readers are really like, "Oh my God, this guy," right?
Ugh,
So
this guy. We hate him, but we love him.
So keep that in the back of your head.
So
People really think he's really sexy.
I'm trying to play it as, yeah, he's conniving, but he's also trying to put the charm on. He's gonna offer her some wine. That it was an expensive kind of casual. Would you like some wine? He asked, reaching down toward a bottle and empty glass. I didn't take a good enough breath. I ran out of breath real quick. Would you like some wine? He asked, reaching down toward a bottle and empty glass. Standing on the balcony next to him. Reaching down toward a bottle and next to him. I am so jealous of the narrators. Just go. There's a narrator by the name of Travis Baldry. That guy, I swear he's a cyborg. He is incredible. He'll go on and on and on and on. And just pop, 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 pop. But, never ever compare yourselves to others. Creative, that's a little creative thing. Don't ever compare yourselves to others. Do your best.
Yeah, that's a very difficult thing to do, right? We know that, all of us.
Because when you first start out, you start comparing yourself to others, and you'll burn out fast. All right, here we go. A bottle and empty glass, standing on the balcony next to him. He started pouring the wine without waiting for an answer. Apparently, it had been a rhetorical question. He started pouring. I like that. He started. So I need to have you when I just record, just sitting there when I'm just recording, because then I can really I'll be like, that's a good line, Anna. I like that. Apparently, it had been a rhetorical question.
We can do that more often because I am having a lot of fun. I was concerned you might be a little bit distracted, but
I am, because I like to chat. As much of an introvert that I am, with the right people, I can be, as everyone can see with my podcast and everything, I can be conversational and outgoing. No, but there are audiobook directors, and so this is very similar to what it would be like to be directed. So this is actually good training for me, because I have another friend she's been asking me to do like a free directing session, and I've been so hesitant. But now I'm like, okay, all right, this might actually be good. But then I might just start talking too much, see, and then nothing will get done, as what's happening right now.
As a director, you shouldn't talk too much. That's
right.
Not your job.
But I'll engage and be like, so did you like that? All right, here we go. Excuse me, everybody. Sorry for clearing my throat if you're annoyed by that. That's how it is in the booth, everybody. Apparently, it had been a rhetorical question. Yes, thank you, she answered anyway, taking the glass he was offering her. She's still trying to be like, I'll take the wine. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I'm going to have her say thank you a little more politely. Yes, thank you, because she's trying to impress him too. With her, she's trying to be a little bit charming, I would imagine. Rhetorical question.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rhetorical question. Absolutely. Yes, thank you. Thank you. So just a little bit. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you. She answered anyway, taking the glass he was offering her. The dark red wine almost looked black in the night, and it smelled delicious. This was real wine, and not the synthetic stuff most people drank. From what she had seen of Metatron's dwelling so far, she made the assumption that it was also expensive. Tasting it, she was astonished how good it actually was. Tasting it, she was astonished how good it actually was. Tasting it. Also, sometimes in my head I go, "You fucking rock that, Sean." You did that good.
I could totally see that in your face right now.
She
Yeah.
made the assumption from what she
Oh,
had
yeah.
seen of Metatron.
I'm good.
She
I'm
made the
good.
assumption it was self-directing is kind of the biggest thing I had to learn was how to kind of self-direct myself instead of kind of steamrolling through. And I think like this year I really feel that I've taken what I've learned and I feel more confident. And confidence is a huge thing. With the dark red wine and it smelled. This was.
You have a reason to be confident.
She made the assumption from what she and not the synthetic stuff.
By the way, I'm really good at directing
smelled
people.
delicious.
I can I can give you confidence even if you should lack it.
Yeah, but see that's what a good director does. But that's a big thing. Cause I had someone the other day ask me like they want to get into audiobook narration, and I'm like it's not easy, and it's not a quick money because they wanted to make money real quick, and I'm like you're not gonna make money real quick. But I gave them some information and to go forward and if they want to search it out. But it's you have to really love doing it and get that confidence.
Absolutely, you have to.
All right, we'll do. Excuse me, sorry everybody. Wait, if I can easily mute my mic, I would. But this is the quick and dirty of narration. By the way, this is a bottle keeper. I have a little can of iced tea in here, and it keeps it from making a lot of noise. If you guys can see it, see, it looks like wood, but it's not. I'll send this to them. Maybe they'll send me a free one.
Well, I have like a little bit different one.
Yeah, it's so hard having like making sure in here there's things that don't make noise. When I first started doing this, I would hear like kung, 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 and I'm like, what is that noise? And it turned out I had a bottle like this, but even louder sitting in here, and it would like it was like sitting up here, so you would hear my voice reflecting off of the metal.
That's also another thing I noticed about you is that you have an excellent hearing. I mean, I have a very good hearing. I hear noises other people don't hear, always have. That's why I'm very sensitive. I hate it when people make noises. So really, oh my God.
I'm surprised that I do because I went to so many concerts.
You're even more your hearing is even more sensitive than mine, I think. You hear everything.
It's gotten more that way since I started doing this. So, and the more you learn about narration, the more you catch up, the more you pick up. So it's almost like damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like it's like you get better, but then you notice more, and then it takes you longer when you're kind of readjusting. Like and then you listen to old stuff and you go ugh, So, all right, let's do a little more, and then I gotta. My wife's making breakfast, so I gotta go out and make an appearance to the fam.
Yes.
But this is a good little window into what I'm going to try to do. Maybe one more page here. I'll try not to stop so much.
Okay. I shut up too.
She was astonished how good it actually was. A magnificent view up here, isn't it? He said, taking a sip. It makes you feel like you're standing on the top of the world. Don't you think, Nephilim? She nodded. It certainly does. She nodded. It certainly does. And that's what we do. We stand on top of the food chain, on top of evolution, he continued, watching her closely. Nephilim realized that he was trying to figure out what she was. Nephilim realized that he was trying to figure out what she was thinking. Gotta stop and make a little edit here. Nephilim. I use my Apple Pencil as a conducting wand sometimes, but it's actually a trick that I learned in my coaching sessions. Is if you want to find the right pace, you can kind of narrate and do this, so you're not rushing things. So and then the Apple Pencil doesn't make any noise, so it's the perfect thing. So otherwise, I would have other things.
So
I'll be like, oh, I click, So
that was really, really good how you did that
on the
right
top,
now. This what he said about top of the evolution and so on. That's a very important topic for him, and I
on
think
top of we
it's
stand.
really well done how
That's
you did this. And also
on
before,
top
like
of
with the
evolution.
smile, I can really see him smiling.
He continued,
Great,
and that's what I
very
that's what
well
I try
done.
to do is because facial expressions are big. Here, hold on. Let me clean this up, and then a magnificent, isn't it? He said, taking a sip. It makes you, don't you? She nodded. I think I only stopped once. And right? That's what we do. It certainly does. It certainly does. Certainly does. And that's what we do. We stand on top of the food chain, on top of evolution. He continued, watching her closely. And skitch, and we're out. Go. But yeah, that's the thing I learned. And I've always kind of done it, but I learned it more through coaching. And I didn't answer this. I did take 3 audiobook coaching sessions spread out through a year and a half, and I'll probably do another one. Whenever I get a book that's challenging, I'll get a coach in and we'll go through some pages. But they said like when you're reading, even if it's just prose and just exposition, facial expressions and trying to get into what's being said and really getting into the text and learning how to do that. That's something I've had to learn too. So I've had a little bit of audiobook coaching. Some people say like there are some people that are like, go through my class for $2,500. But I've found that if you already have a penchant for acting, if you already are kind of dabbled in that kind of stuff, you may only need a few coaching sessions. But then the biggest hurdle would be recording. It's like self-recording. It's probably the hardest thing to do. Excuse me. And projecting and learning how to act with the microphone and not yell. Like my first audiobook or the second one, I think I yelled got way too into it. But it's not. There's a balance between narration and an audio play. And they're like, you're not on stage, so you don't have to really yell. Because I was like, turn the knob down and yell. And then but I've since learned some techniques. But
Yeah,
yeah.
overacting happens with audiobooks too. It doesn't only happen with movies.
Oh yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
yeah.
Listen to my first
So
few audiobooks. You'll hear some overacting.
do you think this is a challenging project or is it one that just comes out of you like
This one, there's certain things that are challenging when we get into exposition, especially about tech. But that's just my own marble mouth. I'm fine. I've found that this one, and there may be some combinations of things. Last year, there were books that I thought I would easily rock through, and I was dealing with so much mentally with the pandemic and everything that I don't know if I was in the right headspace. But this book is. There's times where I just kind of flow through a page, and it feels really good. But that's also a testament to a good writer. Um, narrators in our back circles in our Facebook Messenger conversations, we talk about how we can tell if an author's really good, and most of the time we can tell, at least for a narration from a narration standpoint. There's some authors that it just flows like honey, and then there's some where it's just like, God Almighty, do I really have to say this sentence? And it's tough. It's tougher. So last year I can't tell because even the best written stuff I had a hard time with. This year, through some kind of changes in my workflow, changes with how I'm being available for my family more and trying to like stick more time limits, I'm having more fun. So this book, I can tell this is a well written book. This is going a long way around to saying that it is a very well written book, and the characters, you can always tell when the characters are very well formed because I can also kind of see them in my head. There's a book called Road Ghosts that people it got. I mean, it was like Supernatural meets Scooby Doo. It was a light kind of supernatural kind of here's the gang getting into trouble again. But those characters were so well written that I loved narrating that book. So it hasn't sold that much, but I loved narrating it. So it isn't, So it's well written, and the characters are
Well,
well
thank you.
developed.
I really appreciate hearing that. I'm excited to hear that because, of course, a narrator can tell if
Yeah,
it's well written or not. I bet that it makes your job really hard if a book is
yeah,
poorly written,
and then
and
sometimes
there
in
are
the yeah,
many of those.
yeah, and then sometimes that's when it's like, okay, this is work. This is buckle down. This is work. We're gonna I'm gonna do my best to just get the words across the page, and I do a lot of assuming on that kind of stuff too. Like there's a book I just did, this little book. I had to do a lot of assuming about character motivations. I read the whole book and had no idea what these characters like. Other than this guy trying to find the girl, I was like, the characters were just stock characters, you know.
Well, that sounds like a really bad book.
It is what it is. There's a market. There's a market for that stuff. There's a market for that. You know, people just like to listen to stuff, and it's fine. It's fine. Like there's good movies, there's bad movies. I don't know. I'm
Yes.
not gonna judge. All
Yes,
right.
we judge. We do that.
I know I'm a sarcastic asshole sometimes. All right, I'm gonna
I'm
do a
gonna
little bit
go
more,
to
and then.
hell for being sarcastic and mean about stuff I don't like. So,
All right, I'm gonna do a little bit more. I should have been
okay.
switching the camera back and forth. People are just staring at my computer screen and in my little head, but that's fine. All right, here we go. See, I can just edit this into a podcast episode. I don't need to have you on again. I'm kidding. We're gonna have you on again. All
Oh
right.
yeah, we should do that again. I'm having a blast here. So,
All right, here we go. I'm gonna do a couple. I'm gonna get through this paragraph, and then I'll have to wrap it
yeah,
up.
then you need to get your breakfast.
Yeah. Was thinking. All right, that he was trying to figure out what she was thinking. Okay, that he was trying to figure out what she was thinking. While Zephaniel had looked over her body and styling, Metatron wanted to look into her mind and heart. For these were the only places that he had no true. For these were the only For these were the only places that he had no true access to, and had to rely on his own intuition and knowledge of human. And had to rely on his own intuition and knowledge of human nature. See, I can never just do a whole paragraph. I trip up. It's fine. His own, but I almost reset better without stopping everything. And had to rely on his own intuition and knowledge of human nature. I used to do a method called dog clicker method, and you would click so you know where to edit, but that made it sound a little bit too choppy because I couldn't reset and get match up with the line before. For these were, and had to rely on his only places that he and had to. So I have to kind of do a combination. For these were the only places access to, and had to rely on his own intuition. For these were the only wanted to look into her mind and heart. Daniel had looked over. Metatron wanted to look into Metatron dialing. Metatron wanted to look into her mind and heart. For these were the only places that he had no true. Okay.
How you work on that, that reminds me very much how I do my video editing. That's yeah, and I'm also exactly like you. I'm a perfectionist, and I would sit there and click on tiny details and put way too much time into it.
I've been told by other narrators, they're like, you don't have to spend that much time, and I'm like, yeah, but I'll know it's there. So, oh man, we're our own worst enemies sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. And knowledge of human nature. He could see and control everything she did, saw, and heard. He could order her to do anything he wanted, and she would have to obey. Yet he couldn't control what she felt, and that was what he wanted when he said he expected complete devotion of his archangels, to be in complete control of their bodies, minds, and souls. And that she felt. And that was what he wanted when he said he expected complete devotion of his archangels. Control what she everything she did. He could order her to do anything he wanted, and she would have to obey. Was what he wanted when he and that was what everything she did.
So my dogs are really bored with what you're doing here. I don't know if you can hear my lab snoring. He is lying
Yeah, he
next to
couldn't
me and
control
is snoring
his
like
archangels.
chopping off a whole forest.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna fix this real quick here. He couldn't control what she felt. He couldn't control what she felt, and that was what he wanted when he said he expected complete devotion of his archangels. And that was what he wanted when he said he felt, and that was what he wanted. Leave that breath in to make it sound natural. And that archangels.
That's awesome that the software makes the fades automatically. That saves
Yeah.
saves a lot of time.
Of his archangels.
That's great.
To be in complete control. Some people don't like it; they turn it off. I like that they're there.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Oh my God, that makes life so much easier. I have to put them manually in my video, every single one, and then adjust and everything. That's cool. That's great.
All right, I'm gonna
makes absolute sense.
I'm gonna rock through this. You're fine. I'm gonna rock through this, and then we'll call it. My voice is starting to be like, my booth is getting hot now too. Can you see I'm complete control of their bodies, minds, and souls? To be in total control of their bodies, minds, and souls. To be in total control of their bodies, minds, and souls. I like that better. To be in complete of their bodies, souls. Control of their bodies, minds, and souls. That was excellent work today. That was excellent work today, he said, changing the subject. As always. Thank you. I was just doing my duty. Unfortunately, our suspect got sniped right from under our noses. Rushing it. Unfortunately, our suspect got sniped right from under our noses. He waved his hand. That wasn't your fault. And in the end, it doesn't really matter. We would have neutralized the little piece of shit after interrogation anyway. I'm confident our specialist will pull everything we need to know from this hardware in no time. Do you think it's one of the hostiles? Do you think it's one of the hostiles? Do you think it's one of the hostiles? I'm certain about it. I believe it's something big. We should know by tomorrow. He turned his head to the dining section of the apartment, where a housekeeping robot was preparing the table. I'm getting all tripped up all of a sudden. Where a housekeeping robot was preparing a table. Good Lord, see, you get stuck on the weirdest stuff. It's like, so that's a housekeeping robot. It's preparing a table for two. Why can't I say it?
But you did Metatron fantastic.
Thank you. Where a housekeeping robot was preparing the table for two. Let's go inside. The high archangel said, turning to the door with a smooth predatory manner, which was typical for him. I hope you're hungry. Whew. It's getting warm in here, so I'm like, I gotta get this done. Thank you.
It's okay. Go and get your breakfast.
I'll edit
it's
this.
Okay.
I'll edit this later.
Yeah, go and get your breakfast. You earned it.
Let's get you back here on Skype. Let me see if I can do this here, so people can see you again. Hey. So there we go.
I'm really excited. That was amazing. I love it.
Well, it's almost been like an hour and 15 minutes. I didn't think we'd go that long, but we had a good conversation about the process and stuff. So this is good. So, so yeah. So I'm glad that that your fans can kind of see this, and I can help kind of show them what it's like a little more and add some context to it all. So, but I better
Yeah,
go. I better get going and get some breakfast and spend some time with
yeah,
the
yeah,
fam.
yeah. You're really starving. I can see that. You're
I'm famished. I'm starting to mess. I can't even say housekeeping robot. So
exactly.
Well, thanks for watching, everybody. This has been great. Anna, thank you so much for joining me on this. This has been fantastic. Something we both can do to show each of our I don't know if I have fans, but each of our fans what we both do, and this is a great little collaboration. So
It
everybody,
is.
thank you for watching. Anna, thanks
Thank
again,
you.
and we talk all the time now. So I'm going to continue working on this book.
Exactly. Thank you.
Oh,